Out there, it's Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor at feagentmentor.com. Hope you guys are doing well today. So I'm putting this video together because I just got done releasing a two-part of three-part series with John Duggar, one of the guys that inspired me to get into the final expense business, which seemingly seems so long ago. And the purpose of this video is actually in some questions that I've been witnessing online. People have expressed a combination of doubt or accusations of fraudulent sales behavior to justify the kind of production that John Duggar is doing. And so the intention of this video is to kind of retaliate, I guess, against that particular standpoint, but to also offer you some some lessons I learned, because in my criticism, out of genuine love for you, is that I was in the same position too. I think a lot of us who get frustrated with the business and deal with some hard times, maybe sales aren't coming in as easily as they once were, or the lead program has changed, or you're just frustrated. We look for things to help validate our distress. I think that's just a normal standpoint of human behavior. And it's hard to believe that somebody can write a ton of business on such little leads, but there's always more to the story. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of the times you gain advantages by being in the business for a long time, by getting referrals, by just having a great presence, in a combination with your sales abilities and ability to connect with the people that you see. It explains a large reason why some people just do outstandingly well than others. So beyond that, the one thing I want to help you move beyond is getting fixated on why you can't be what I would call a 2 standard deviation from the mean agent. Now, what that means in statistical talk is that in any sort of random sampling of different agents that are out there in the field, you're always going to have the ones that are the greatest outliers. They're the ones that they're just so far out there in their production that it just doesn't seemingly make sense as to how much they do. When you hold consistent the amount of leads that they buy. A lot of people get stuck on, I have to produce more sales. I have to get my closing ratio from 25% to 35%. I have to get my average case size from $550 to $850. And these are monumental tasks that some people and some markets will not facilitate. And what I found out, what I discovered several years back, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years ago, I was obsessed with these kind of numbers, which I think to an extent you need to be concerned with them. But I had the realization that the secret to high productivity is not necessarily having the highest level of close ratio or the highest average case size, but it's actually learning how to scale your business with the numbers that are your own, as long as they're good enough. So here's what I mean by this. The great thing about Final Expense is the guy that runs 10 presentations a week does exactly the same thing as the guy that's running 40 presentations a week. I kid you not. The only difference is the guy that's running 40 a week is probably working 4 times as hard, but his presentations are the same. The leads he's using are the same. There's virtually no difference in the kind of people he's seeing, this pitch that he's making, and how he gets in the door. He may rely on an appointment setter. That may be one little difference there of an effect. The only difference is the guy's buying a boatload more leads to support that kind of appointment setting volume. And the great thing is, even if you've got a 20 to 25% closing ratio, what I would consider a average good agent, not a bad agent, but not a great agent, somewhere in between, if you can sustain those numbers and scale up your activity, you can scale up your income. That's fantastic. And so what I realized is, okay, well, instead of learning how to make $200,000 a year off of 15 leads or 20 leads, which is seemingly impossible, it's possible for some people. Why not do it with 40 or 50 leads and figure out how I can scale up my activity level with my preset, already determined closing ratios, conversion ratios, average case sizes, and work with what I've got to scale it up. So I think this is how average agents can become great agents and even do better than the top closers in this business, because you will do a lot more work. You have to have hard work ethic. You got to be able to take a chance. You got to have chutzpah. You got to have the ability to take on a large a weekly flow of leads. It's not easy going mentally, going from a $700 a week investment to a $1,400 a week investment, much less beyond that. It takes some brass balls, as they say. So you got to have that, and that is tough to overcome. But if you've got the confidence in what you're doing and you've seen success and you want to get your income higher, you want to double your, triple your income even, just start taking more leads, start doing more work. I'd love to be able to say, hey, let me teach you how to do more sales with half the work. But look, this is the real world. This is final expense. It is an activity-driven business. Sure, there's things we can do to bump up your average case size. Sure, there's things we can do to increase the amount of presentations you do or even your closing ratio. Stay tuned for more. Take care.